I realized I had to fight. I realized that I may have lost my flesh, but I did not lose my life.
You know, what we're trying to do for breast cancer is just bring about awareness.
I thank God I'm cancer-free 7 years.
It's a blessing to have everybody come out. G-Mac Productions, DJ Taz, John Sachs. It's just incredible.
These are the awarenesses that are out there, and we're just taking things for granted.
You got to take care of yourself. You just got to, eating habits, everything. It makes a big difference.
I know everyone has someone in their lives, family member, that is going through this.
John Sachs.
How's everyone doing tonight? All right. For me, the breast cancer journey really officially started with Greg. I mean, I've always supported breast cancer. I've supported cancer through a lot of the athletes that I supported in Miami, Florida. Background, I do all the Miami Dolphin home games, and I've been playing the national anthem for the Miami Heat since 2006. So because of that, I support a lot of athletes and their causes and different things like that. But to be up close and personal after meeting Denise and listening to Greg and come down and help him has now become something that I took part of and own. And it's just something that has very much touched my life, because not only do I have the support of Festival NC, I don't look at people like that as my fans. I look at them as family. You know, and family's going to ride or die with you, and they're going to be there for you. And Denise, I look at you as family, and because Greg brought me in here to support you, I've been adopted by all these other people that love you and care about you. So it's always been a pleasure to come down here and just help out anywhere I can. And like Greg said, it's bigger than both of us. The Lord blessed me with his talent. The Lord's met Greg with his gift of gab and getting things done and connecting the dots and, you know, surrounding himself with like minds like himself. And so we're just here to just kind of put those touches on there that, you know, bring people together. You know, music and food bring people together, so that's why we're here. You know, with that and with the Lord at your side, you know, you're unstoppable. There's a saying that my grandfather taught me: God didn't give everybody everything, but he did give everybody something. And with that something, you can do anything.
I'm going to let John Sachs take it away. We're going to start our program today. And then from there, we have Carrie's Touch, survivor speakers, as well as the American Cancer Society. We have a few other people on the list. We're going to have Sandra Dees as well, serving great food to us. So we got a few things to go. Be patient. I really want to hear John Sachs and what he's about to do. He has some meaning with a few songs he's about to do. Thank you. So, first of all, I'm gonna have Carrie's Touch come up. So can Carrie Touch organization come up, please? And I'm gonna have Denise. You're gonna name everybody. Honorary. Take your time. We have a poem as well.
Well, as you know, I am Denise, and Denise Elarts, and Greg is my brother. He was there for me, I mean, through all of it, and I appreciate and love him so much.
It's okay.
I met Gloria, and when I was going through chemotherapy, she would call me when I didn't want to talk, and she just kept on checking on me, and I started going to Carrie's Touch meetings once a month, and she's been there for me. She just doesn't know how much she's helped me. And my mother as well. And so this is very important, what Greg is doing, because people need to know, and I know everyone has someone in their lives, family member, that is going through this. And I did have a lot of support, a lot of love, but there are a lot of people out there that don't have anyone. So this is just very important that we get the word out. Ladies get out there and get checked. So hopefully we can prevent what some of us are going through. So that's all I want to say, and I'll ask the mic on.
My name is Denise DeLuz, and I'm board chair for Carrie's Touch. I am not a breast cancer survivor, but my grandmother did pass away at the young age of 56 with breast cancer. I tend to be the emotional one and on the board also. But anyway, it's just a pleasure to be here with each one of you, and I honor you, Greg, for extending yourself, because you don't have to do it, and I just really appreciate that you have. That you've been a support for Denise, because we know that she was in an exceptional situation in terms of your insurance. So we really appreciate the support that you've provided, but that's one of the things that Carrie's Touch does. Because we're a nonprofit organization, we're able to receive funds, and with those funds, what we're able to do is have support group meetings. We have 3 support group meetings during the month in 3 different locations, actually, 2 on the south side of Sacramento and 1 in North Natomas. When I found out that there was a need for a place for the survivors to meet, I opened my home, and so regularly, monthly, they meet at my house. And what happens oftentimes, as a matter of fact, the first few times they met, I had to leave the key under the doormat, and Reverend Tammy just opened up my house, and I only met her through Carrie's Touch. So there are all kinds of wonderful, heartfelt, warm things that Carrie's Touch is doing. We assist patients when they need a ride to the doctor's offices. There's just a variety of different support that we offer. So if there is an organization, a nonprofit organization that you want to support, I would encourage you to support Carrie's Touch and continue to support Greg. We were started, Carrie's Touch was founded in 2006 because Reverend Tammy Denise, who can't be here today, she had surgery on her back, extensive surgery on Monday, so she's recovering from that. But it was founded because she had a need for support, and she saw some gaps that existed. So there are a number of things that the larger organizations are doing, and American Cancer Society has been our partner from the beginning, so I really, really appreciate that. Beverly Saldovar, in particular, has supported diverse communities in Sacramento with a passion that I haven't seen many people support diverse communities, not just her community, but all of our communities. So I really want to say thank you, and I honor you for that also. The other thing that I wanted to say was Many of you have seen the calendar, but we're creating a calendar for 2014. What this calendar does is that there are a number of ladies who have chosen to pose, and they have exposed their spine. So look forward to that. It is a fundraiser. The calendars will probably cost $20 to $25, but what will happen in that calendar is you'll see the ladies this year, and I think 2 men, displayed in Harlem Renaissance attire, flapper dresses, just a variety of fun poses, and it tells their story. You know, real succinctly, it tells the story, so it's an educational piece as well. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Active part of Carrie's Touch. I'm also a peer navigator. Peer navigator is one that walks the journey with someone else that's newly diagnosed. I'm here to tell women and men that it's important to know your body and to examine your body. I had 6 months prior to before I found out that I had cancer, I had a clean mammogram because I go yearly to have them done. I noticed a knot up under my left armpit. First I thought, oh, maybe I had shaved and nipped myself. Then I was in Hawaii and I noticed the knot got bigger. When I got back, I went to the doctor. She also said, oh, maybe you might have nicked yourself, but just in case we're going to send you to have another mammogram, which was, I had just had one 6 months. Well, I had a mammogram and an ultrasound. Come to find out, I was at stage 3B, triple negative breast cancer. There's all different types of breast cancer. Triple negative breast cancer is a very aggressive breast cancer, and it affects African American women and Hispanic women. So within a week after they found out that I had the cancer, I had to have a mammogram. I had 6 months of radical chemotherapy. I had 7 weeks, 5 days a week of radiation. And I thank God I'm cancer-free 7 years now. To share with women especially, we should know our bodies, not just examine or touch here. We should stand in the mirror. This is our body. We have to own it. You stand in the mirror and you look at yourself. Not only front, you turn sideways, you bend over and notice your body, because no one knows your body like you do. I tell my men friends now, when you're with your wife, moms, babies, and all that. But when you're with your wife, examine your wife. You know her body too. Because it's important that we do this because, like I said, triple negative is a very aggressive cancer. And with me, with triple negative, they don't have anything they could give you once you go through your chemo and radiation. Other cancer, they could give you a pill that women stays on for 5 years. It's tamoxifen, and yeah. But with triple negative, you're just under the grace of God. Most likely, they say you have a 50-50 chance, but like I said, it's all in God's hand. And He have kept me here to share my story, to be there for other women, and that's what Carrie Touch does. We're there to share our story. We're there to help anyone in need. Sometimes I know when you first get it, you're a little ashamed, a little afraid like Denise was, but we're here to be there to encourage you, to be your support, to be a shoulder, an ear, whatever you need us to do. And we just thank God for Greg, for him coming on board and sharing and not being ashamed. And I just want to say, if anyone ever needs anyone or any support, calls Carrie Touch.
I am Kamiko, and I am an 11-year breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed before the age of 30. And presently at this time, I'm fighting ovarian cancer And so I'm just glad to be here. I'm actually in chemo. It has actually spread to some of my bones and pelvic area, but despite all that, I'm just really glad to be here. And I want to say thank you for all the work that you're doing and the support. Even, I just want to say this about him really quick, last year when I lost my father, he came and he told me, you know, if you need to talk, if there's anything you need, you let me know. You get in touch with me and you let me know. And so I want to say thank you for that. And I'm going to do this poem. There are two things that rest upon my chest that reflect the essence of a woman. I have been told I am nothing without my breast, that I hold my whole honor and my cleavage in a sexy red dress. That without them I wouldn't be the person that I am, or without them I couldn't get the attention of a man, or without them I wouldn't be a beautiful woman. So I always thought to hold them with pride, so my breast would get me through life. So I would keep my treasure chest inside. So my breast refines my frame that molds and defines my name. But what if I lost them? I never put breast and cancer in the same sentence. Cancer is like an unwanted guest that shows up at your doorstep, rejected, unexpected, and undetected. So the things that define me would never become deflected. So it came as a surprise interruption. The doctor said that when the scan showed up, there was a little lump in the front, but that little lump felt like a million clumps eating away at my treasure chest, until it turned into worthless junk. The pride I had as a memory of lost femininity now tossed into masculinity, but realized that I had a more important responsibility. I realized I had to fight. I realized that I may have lost my flesh, but I did not lose my life. So I fight like a soldier that would put men to shame, using prayer and my God as my armor and cane. I fought in silence and discreetness and like a soldier, never showing my weakness. This constant battle has left invisible scars and scrapes on face and arms, and I might be telling your story, or I might be telling your story, or I might be telling your story. And I may not be able to feel your pain, but I care for you. And I might can't ease your strain, but I'm there for you. And it might be hard for you to look into the sky and see a new day, but I'll stare for you. And it might be hard for you to inhale any more happiness, but I'll breathe more air for you. And it might be hard for you to take any more chances, but I'll dare for you. And it might be hard for you to stand after this long battle, but I'll pull up a chair for you. But not everyone has come to this day, and I can feel their presence. I'm now a believer that I don't have to depend upon my breast to be a keeper. My beauty doesn't lie within my breast, they only accentuate my physical features. So to all of the survivors, you only lost a burden, and you gained strength in your body, your mind, and your soul. And through it all, you're still beautiful. I realize that my breasts do not define me. They were only there to refine me.
And then I graduated, and I postponed my annual mammogram, because growing up, I never went to the doctor. We didn't have medical coverage. So I knew how important it was, even though I was probably the only one in my family that understood it, even though I would tell them. So I got my mammograms, and right after I graduated, I got my mammogram. And the joy of my grandchild was taken away because my doctor wouldn't wait for me to have surgery. So I basically did have my surgery, and it was early detection. It was early, so I basically had my surgery, and I knew some of the consequences of not getting it done. I mean, we were actually teaching high school girls to do it so that they'd go home and tell their mothers and their grandmothers, because our communities don't do it. And even now, like you say, you didn't want to get your colorectal exam. That is a preventable cancer. I'm going to tell you right now, it's preventable 98%. So, and then a prostate. Don't forget the prostate. A lot of us have lost loved ones from that. So because I was involved in health care for all of our communities, I wanted to be involved in an organization that worked on cancer in general, and that's what brought me to the American Cancer Society. I actually started right after my last surgery for my breast cancer, and then they hired me to do outreach to the diverse communities in Sacramento, and all those of you that are here know how diverse we are. We're the most diverse in the nation. So because all of the people were important to me, I wanted to do outreach to all of the populations, because I knew growing up, I didn't have resources. I didn't know. I mean, I learned it from working in a hospital and in healthcare. So the American Cancer Society, and I was one of those, okay, I got breast cancer and here I am teaching about it, telling, oh my God, that's bad luck. But I knew that God was in my life, and I knew that it wasn't. It was just basically I found it early. So that's when I met Tammy. She came in the office when she was diagnosed, and I tried to help her. And they've done great work. I want to let you know something about the American Cancer Society, because we're here for all people, for all cancers, because they don't care what color you are or how rich you are. And they don't care where it goes. It'll come at you. I retired from the American Cancer Society about a year and a half ago. And during that time when I was there, we started a diversity coalition, and Denise is involved in that, doing outreach to our communities, educating them about their role in cancer prevention and early detection. Our communities don't even talk about it, and we need to be aware of it. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We need to encourage all of our mothers and our sisters and our aunts and even our daughters, if they're, to get their breast exam. And my message now is to know your body and look for changes.
I'd like to introduce the next gentleman here. His name is Jimmy Walker. Please stand up, sir. Good. This is Jimmy Walton. This is VIP Security, good friend of mine. Just real quick, we signed on, was it Elizabeth? A cruise line called Cool Jazz Cruise. I am the promoter, and I'm bringing John Sachs, the security, and we were talking about, to quick speed that up, we was talking about cancer. He said, I need you to meet someone that had a family member that they lost due to cancer. They make wigs and do everything for the cancer patients. I said, wow, well, how can we get to that person? So I know her very well. So, Ayana, well, she told me, just call me the boss. And I was like, wow. So I'm gonna let her come here and share a story, but she told me, Greg, I want to be a part of your organization, and I'm willing to donate 3 wigs a year. You know, just to give her a hand. Again, I said that journey, remember when I first started talking? And your path and things fall. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to share a story, and she's going to explain herself. Here we go. Thank you.
Just to clarify, I'm boss lady actually. I'm the youngest of 4, but I take charge. Anything, something's wrong, good, bad, indifferent, I take charge. 38 years old. I am going to merge both of my careers for you. Professional side of it, clinical medical technician, worked in oncology for 6 years, 3 of those years with children, other 3 years with adults. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and I've been doing that for over 20 years. Let's see, March of 2010, I want to say. My grandmother, this is where it gets personal. My grandmother was diagnosed with cancer. I decided to quit work to take care of her because I was the most educated. Like the lady here says, I came from a poverty-stricken home. We didn't have medical insurance. We didn't know when we went to college. You know, we made it out, and that was the best we could do. Well, I chose to further my education, and so I knew what I was dealing with personally because I had dealt with it in the field. So I wanted to take care of my grandmother, didn't want her to do the hospice. So my grandmother actually is, was a pastor, and she several degrees in theology, actually. So for her, women, your hair is your glory. So when my grandmother began to lose her hair, she literally wouldn't come out the room, wouldn't allow anyone to come in to see her. And so my question to her was, Grandma, you can go to hell because you lost your hair? What kind of God are we serving? And so it made her check herself because that, to me, is not a realistic thing. You can't control that. So she stopped visitors, stopped people from coming. So I asked her, Grandma, let me make you a wig. And, no, I don't want to do it. These things are hot. Okay, fine. So working, when I was in the hospital setting, I would get in trouble for sneaking the client's wigs home or the patient's wigs home and styling them and bringing them back so they can look good. Us women, we like to look good. If we look good, we feel so much better. It makes it easier to fight what's going on within us if we look in the mirror and like the reflection that's coming back. But when you're going through the treatments, you lose your hair, your skin swells, and your self-esteem is beaten down. And I was seeing these literally looking like mops on these women's heads. So I was sneaking them home, styling them, bringing them back, and putting smiles in their faces. And that couldn't give me amount of money for that. I was just like, okay, I'm going to, your gift will make room for you. So I didn't want to do hair anymore. I kept staying in it, but then I love medicine. I love taking care of people as well. I'm a natural caregiver. That's what I do. So back to grandmother. She allowed me to do her hair because people were coming to see her. So it went from doing a wig to where she had me doing her wigs when she was 20, had me doing her wigs when she was 30. She was loving it, just the different looks of her different stages in life. And so December 2010 is when she transitioned over, but she was beautiful the whole time, and that was her thing. As long as she looked good, she was fine with it. And so I grieved. It was very hard for me because it was personal. I took care of my grandmother up until her last moment. That was very personal, but I also know that God doesn't make any mistakes. So I wanted to know what could I do to honor my grandmother's legacy. So after thinking about it, playing with it, and I'm still getting these phone calls to make these wigs for clients that I got relationships with for working in there. You know, treatment sometimes 6 weeks, 8 weeks, five times a week, excuse me. So it was personal relationships. I got back into that. And with that, I actually ended up formulating a mobile hair salon for medically immobile people. So I can actually go to them because I know a lot of them don't want to come to a salon, and once again, their hair is gone. They don't want to deal with people around. So that is what I started, and it branched off to me actually making wigs. I'm actually in the process of getting a patent. I had it in a couple of wig stores. I had to pull it down because of the patenting process. Once again, and that's twofold. It's for the teenagers and it's for the women as well. So that's something I'm doing, and then I'm going to expand. Hopefully November 1st, I'm opening up a salon, 24/7 hair care, Trendy Little Divas. It'll be in Brentwood, California. I'll cater to little girls in the day, women at night, but my whole focus is to educate our little girls, educate our children, teach them how to give back. Once a month we'll do nonprofit give backs and make them be a part of it. Let them know their body. Let them know that diseases, cancer, autism, it's real. This stuff is real. It's not just, it just happens. It doesn't just happen. Everybody will be affected by it one way or the other. So that is what I do, and I got to meet Gregory, and he invited me to be a part of this, and I'm honored. I'm so honored, and I'm totally in. This is what I want. This is what I want to do, is to give back. Thank you guys for listening to us.
And again, I'd like to thank everybody for a great night. This is what it's all about. So everybody, please give yourself a round of applause. And we're going to bring him out one more time. Miami's finest, John Sachs.
Not a day, I'm out.
Give it up for John Sachs. It ain't over. It ain't over. Get some water. Do something, because he coming. Here we go.
We in the business, where we going now?
We're gonna act like right now we're on a festival to see. Okay, you better hold on tight. That's what I'm telling you. 7 days, 24 hours is no sleep. You rest when you go home. Hey,
DJ Taz, John Sachs. We just finished at Sandra D's restaurant, F and 15th Street, Sacramento, California. John Sachs, tonight was a very awesome night, man. I mean, we had American Cancer Society here, Carrie's Touch, Festival to see fans. It was a night that, you know, it touched my heart in a lot of ways because you said the first thing out of your mouth was, it's not about me and you. It's not about DJ Taz. Explain it to the world now what it's really about breast cancer awareness.
You know, what we're trying to do for breast cancer is just bring about awareness, and because of that, it takes more than 3 people. We're just another vehicle to help drive this awareness, so it's bigger than us. I mean, it takes a whole family, it takes a whole village to raise a family, so, you know, we're just, you know, family members just trying to bring awareness, and that's why it's much bigger than us.
I can understand that. DJ Chaz, you've been here with us from day one, 3.5 years. I know you got a lot of input. I need to hear you from you tonight, because usually you're just a DJ and pumping the crowd and getting it going. But you see how the effect of the audience are, you know, how they feel, you know, tears and certain songs that you guys select. How do you feel about this?
It was a great honor just to actually give back, just to show them that we care. From this whole weekend has been a blessing to hang out with brothers, and as we show as men that we care about not just breast cancer awareness, but cancer period, because we get cancer as well, and we just don't check. And so now we're letting the world know that, hey, it's 3, 5, 6, whatever kind of men are going to come together. We care just like the women care. That breast cancer walk not just made for women, it's also made for us as men.
So everybody's heard that, even men, you need to get checked out. Breast cancer is just not for women, it's for men. You know, your prostate, you need to be checked out. They will tell you at the last minute, oh, when you hit 40 years old, maybe you need to get checked out. Wait till you're 50. Those times might be too late. So we're putting out the word. You need to be tested. You know, yeah, men do not like to go to the hospital and be checked out. But right now, it is a need to go. And there are services out there that you can be screened for free. If you have a medical plan and so forth, then that's understandable. You can go to a local medical clinic and they can give you a free screening. So that's why we're doing this, fellas. DJ Taz, now seeing some of the survivors come and speak, well, how did that move you today?
It was touching. It was touching to see that they've survived, they made it. From the young lady that had a series of breast cancer, just something not just stage 1, it was stage 3. And she figured it was a 50-50 chance to living. That's big, and she made it. To share her story for the rest of us, so we can now know we got to go get taken care of. We can't just like skip. You break your ankle, you don't go get checked. As men, we put some ice on it and keep it moving. We need to start taking. They can literally check your mouth as a dentist and tell you what you got before the doctor can even check. And a lot of us don't know that. They can know diabetes in your mouth before you see it everywhere else. And so being a diabetic is big. You got to take care of yourself. You just got to, eating habits, everything. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference.
Well, you've heard it. Health issues. 1, taking care of yourself, eating right. 2, going to the doctor on a regular. 3, don't assume. Go. Get it checked out. These things are important. These are the awarenesses that are out there, and we're just taking things for granted. The black community has been hit hard. So for that, we have to go out and get tested. Do you agree, brother?
I agree 1,000%.
Well, Hispanic as well. It's not just the black community, it's Hispanic. Any ethnicity, we all need to go get checked. No matter what race you are, as a man, just go get it. Women too, but men, we really need to get on our ABs. Like, the women get checked every year. What's wrong with us? We know different.
You hearing it right here. 3 brothers, 1 I have been tested, found 2 polyps, and it was rectified. So if I can stand here and tell you what you need to do because I've done it, I won't sit here and play games, fellas. We have to go get tested. Women are doing the right thing, and they're going out and getting tested. They're bonding together. They're having walks. We need to see more men in breast cancer walks and giving back in the community. So, again, I appreciate you guys. This has been 4 days of awareness. Going to every city. LA, we touched you. We let them know what time it was, okay? Demetrius, we want to thank you. You know, oh my God, it was an awesome night. The Pink Ribbon Party was a success. Sandra D's opened their doors to us today. This is what it's all about, you know? And I want to thank everybody. And I'm going to tell you, you see 3 men here, but the majority of our staff is women, and they support us. And they have their views, and they help us. So that's why we look so sharp. That's why we're able to come and give you what you need. So yes, we have sisters backing us, and I just want you to know that. But up front, you got some 3 intelligent brothers right here too. So from GMAC TV, I want to say out and peace and love. Thank you.